Hi everyone, Rob here, and I'm actually currently today at Kurihama Flower World, a really beautiful park out here. It is basically south of Yokohama, right at the end of the Maru Peninsula here, and not really the best time of year for flowers, but even though, a lot of nice hiking trails, and that's really kind of hard to find out here on the Kanto Plain. There's some good areas to get out in nature. So right behind me, actually on the distance, this is Tokyo Bay, right at the entrance of Tokyo Bay. Got some fog out there forming up over the water this morning, so really kind of a beautiful sight. But that's what's going on here, though. Looking across the rest of the West Pacific, an area of low pressure is developing up here just west of Kyushu across the rainy season stage front right in here. Now, this is going to run across Japan today. We're seeing some rain showers across much of the islands up here towards the north. But moving towards the south, two areas in the tropics that are being closely watched today. The tropical depression now 06W, just southwest of Taiwan here, on its approach up towards Hong Kong right now, but very weak. Current winds out of it are 30, gusting up to 40 knots per JTWC. A very weak system and only a little burst of convection here near the center of it, as most of it has been sheared off towards the southwest, and really the center is totally exposed, thus allowing for a lot of weakening because a lot of the latent heat at the surface has been stripped off. And also over here towards the towards the east, Invest 99W, just north of Palau here, or out towards the west of Guam. Now this bears watching over the next several days, as there's a lot of good cyclonic rotation in the midst of this system. But we'll get to that in a second. But first off, we're going to go over to Tropical Depression 06W, that is very weak and disorganized currently, as shown on this visible imagery zoomed in here. Really the center of circulation exposed here near the midst of the Luzon Strait, right in this region, right in here. You can kind of see the low-lying clouds wrapping around the center right in here. And all of this is really weak because of a vertical wind shear coming in from the northeast towards the southwest, stripping up and exposing the center of circulation. Thus the warm core low really cannot get that overall exhaust out of the top of this, and really cannot intensify just overall due to the fact this shear is not allowing for that center of circulation to set up a funnel, thus allowing the diffluence loft and that convergence at the surface. There is still a lot amount of convection here towards the southwest, and really did drop a lot of precipitation across the Philippines in the past several days as the low tracked off the east coast of the Philippines. But right now it is starting off in towards the South China Sea and could develop a little bit stronger, but it only looks like it's going to max out between 35 and 40 knots before making landfall along southeastern China. Actually, zooming out here, you can see that there still is a cyclonic rotation around the midst of the system. Thus it is still being called a tropical depression, because there's that closed circulation with a lot of inflow still coming in from the equatorial regions down to the south, and also all that northeasterly wind shear coming off and knocking a lot of this convection down in this region. So still actually in Manila today can experience some rain showers enhanced by the afternoon effects, especially by this afternoon today. So some localized flooding is still expected around the Manila metropolitan area. But I think all eyes are on this in Hong Kong, with actually today, out of all warnings that would be possible, there's actually a hot weather warning being posted by the HK Observatory this morning. So as this does track off over the cities, could actually be a welcomed cool off, even though some localized flooding could occur, especially in some of the flood drenched areas here. And southeastern China really doesn't need any more rainfall at this time, and as this does track off over and towards that region, really could enhance some of that flooding and really just kind of be a bad effect. And that's the main effect that is going to come out of Tropical Depression 06W here, is the flooding. But actually looking at all of the warnings coming out of this system right now, I'm being warned on by 4 different agencies currently: JTWC, Bagasa, the Hong Kong Observatory, and JMA, all taking it off towards the west with that overall background flow here, basically on the southwestern periphery of the subtropical ridge, which is located up here over Taiwan right now. That's why you actually see some clear skies on the satellite picture up in this region. And it's going to track off towards Hong Kong, really could make landfall just along the southwest of Hong Kong. A little bit different than yesterday. We were actually expecting it up in here in this region, but that ridge kind of ridged in a little bit stronger than originally forecasted, and that's why it's moving off towards the southwest right now. As noted though, it's going to be very, very weak, and really the only main effect coming out of the system is going to be heavy rainfall. So that's all I'm going to talk about this one right now. Really the main effect already passed is over the Philippines, a lot of rain showers there, and actually up to 10 reports of deaths down in Mindanao just due to the enhanced rainfall coming out of this system. As of today though, very weak system and really nothing too intense, and really don't expect anything more severe coming out of this outside of the flood potential. But back to the sat shot here with Tropical Depression 06W, or Egay here, just off the northwest coast of Luzon, moving off towards the west. You also have another invest out here towards the east, just northeast of Palau, and towards the west of Guam. Very large area of circulation right in this here. It's actually be called a medium area by JTWC, possibly a TCFA in the next 24 hours could come out of this if it does continue to develop and get a little more organized. Actually, looking at ASCII imagery depicting the winds at the surface judged by the movement of the waves and the overall height of the waves. You kind of get a general gist of where the winds are going and where the wind speeds are. Really, there is a large area of circulation out in here. We did miss the center of pass right in here as the polar orbit passed through this region, so really can't get a center of circulation. But just by looking at the cyclonic rotation right in here, it does look like there is an elongated area of low pressure from here just northeast of Palau and south of Guam, and that kind of confirms up what the infrared imagery is showing here as well. And looking on to microwave imagery, you can see a lot of higher cloud tops in here. All this indicated in red, very disorganized right now as shown on the microwave imagery here, and a lot of dry air in the midst of this. But overall though, if you look closely though, you can kind of see the cyclonic rotation, really just kind of the flow coming in here from the east and the flow coming in down here from the west. I know it's not very visible on that imagery, but if we actually look at the visible satellite imagery here, it's actually much more apparent of the cyclonic rotation in coming in from the northwest towards the southeast and kind of wrapping around the center right in here. You can kind of see a lot of the outflow, a lot of the cirrus shield coming off on the northeastern periphery, and actually looking at all the lower clouds, which are these little spotty clouds all around the system, the overall flow is coming in towards a center of circulation here just north of Palau. So really do expect this actually to pop into a TCFA in the next 24 hours just due to the fact of this overall circulation, and possibly if we get a good pass from the ASCII imagery, that would confirm up that there is a center of circulation here and possibly a tropical depression could pop out of this. If one was to develop, where would it go? I think that's a question on everybody's mind. Well, just showing a lot of the model runs here, GFS, no gaps, the CMC, and the European model here, all of them kind of confirm up that it would basically take a similar track as Typhoon Sanga, or actually a lot of the storms this year so far, just off the east coast of the Philippines and then tracking basically off towards the north and towards the Ryukyu Islands. But if this subtropical ridge remains in place as having a large influence on basically a tropical depression 06W right now, it would take more of a track as what the European model is showing here in the bottom right, and basically off towards the northwest around Apari and also through Luzon Strait. But a very long range out is already noted, and it's still a very weak system at this time and not even popped yet into a tropical depression. So we can continue to watch this here, and I think it does bear watching as a lot of the models are picking up on some possible development out of this. So a lot of the conditions are in place, but another factor is that if the vertical wind shear does remain in place as well throughout this entire area, this will not get very strong, just as we have seen with our current tropical depression out. But at least at this time, those models do match up with the overall background flow from the streamline analysis, taking it off towards the northwest and eventually recurving around the Ryukyu Islands here. Now this subtropical ridge is this area in blue and all that negative vorticity I was talking about, and if that does get stronger, it would take it towards the northwest more, basically off towards the west and around the northern Philippines along the Luzon right in this region. Now, as already noted, though, still long range out, not an official forecast, just my current thoughts on if this does develop. That is all for today, everyone. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can always post a comment here on the website. But thanks again for watching, though, and I hope everybody has a great day and stay safe out there. But right now, though, I did leave from the Kurihama Flower Road and came over here to the Godzilla Park, just in Kurihama here as well. A big old slide that's actually in the Godzilla here. Pretty fun. Japanese really do know how to make some fun parks out here.
Yeah.
Say hi to Mommy. Hi, Mommy.
Desmond.
Hi, Mommy. Oh my goodness.